Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation, and the topic we're going to discuss now is, can your husband make you depressed? It's a very good question because it's kind of deep. And at the Marriage Foundation, as you know, if you're a subscriber, if you're not one, you should definitely subscribe. We approach marriage very differently. We don't get into the problems, the issues, because that's been the standard way. And it doesn't work. The divorce rate is well over 50%, and the traditional marriage counseling and approaches to marriage have been around for over 100 years. They're not working. So I used to be a divorce mediator, and one of my couples asked me to help them save their marriage, and I think I've kind of reinvented marriage. And if you watch these videos, and even this one, which is, can your husband make you depressed? You'll see that the approach is very different. So let's get right into this. The simple answer is no, your husband cannot make you depressed. You have to understand that free will is not just for choosing this dress or that dress, or deciding where to go on vacation or what flavor ice cream to get. It's a very deep thing, this free will. People don't realize how deep it is. It goes so far, has so much coverage for us. It literally determines how we think, how we see things. In other words, you may see, I'll give you a great example. There are some people who see the world very politically. There are other people who could care less about politics. There's some people who are very judgmental about other people. There's some people who are very easygoing and they accept all. And this is your thinking. And your thinking isn't determined so much, interestingly, by your philosophies as it is by habits that have been built up in your mind over time. And we don't even see it happening. And the reason we don't, and this is so important for you to understand, we are not taught that our mind is a possession and that we are supposed to control it. And our free will is not of the mind. It's of ourselves, and ourselves means we're souls, and we have a mind, we have a body, but essentially we're souls. Now, the traditional therapists and all those people who are trying to help marriages, they're good people, but they're afraid to talk about things that are spiritual. Afraid, because they're afraid that you're going to go, oh, you're just a religious person, and I have no need for religion, and I don't believe in God and all that. But we're learning so much more that has turned the world's ideas upside down. You know, when Western psychology was first begun, the father of Western psychology, Sigmund Freud, he didn't have much to work with. They didn't even know in those days, 1800s, they didn't even know that atoms were the smallest particle. They didn't know that sound was a vibration. And so, because they only had an awareness of sort of like this weird mind doing these things, they didn't recognize that as souls, we literally transcend our minds when it comes to consciousness. And where it's most apparent and most important is love. And that's what we do at the Marriage Foundation. We teach people how to ignore even these questions, but I'm going to get to it still, but ignore what are perceived of as problems by therapists. They go, oh, we have to work on that. We have to see where it began. We have to see what your childhood was like, and we have to see what your relationship with your siblings was like. And that is not true. It's not true. If you want to go somewhere, you concentrate on the shortest distance between 2 points and creating the vehicle that will get you there. In marriage, where you want to go is the place of love. That's why you got married. And happiness. And really, I hate to say this, I don't hate to say it, happiness is the real motivation for us to get married. Love is why we become happy in marriage, when we know how to pull it up from ourselves and induce it in our marriage with our spouse. Marriage is amazing. It's such a beautiful thing. And so when you're asking, can your husband make you depressed? You have free will. If you want to be depressed, I hate to put it so simply like that, but if you want to be depressed, doesn't matter what your husband does. He could be a circus clown. He could be incredibly entertaining. He could be very supportive, very loving. But if you choose to be depressed, you're going to be, right? You know people who are like that, no matter what their environment. And your husband is obviously your environment. They are depressed people. Why? It's not their fault. We're just not taught about controlling our minds, about mastering our minds. And so your husband can't make you depressed. Now, together, you can bounce off each other and bring each other down. That's an expression, but what you're really doing is you have sort of this unconscious agreement between the two of you that you're going to make each other depressed. What you really should be doing when you're married is making each other happy. But don't worry about tit for tat. Don't worry about a business deal relationship where I'll make you happy if you make me happy. Instead, and this is very deep, really go for it. Really go for being all in with your husband, giving him all the love, cultivating that love, letting it grow and grow and grow until it's bursting your heart. There is no end to love. It's a metaphysical thing, love is. Love is not of the mind. It is not an emotion. And you know this because you've experienced love. It transcends the mind. It transcends thought. It transcends emotional feeling. It is its own thing. And it's what we all crave because we're souls. So no, your husband can't make you depressed. But I'll go further. You can make him happy because there is a part of us that is receptive to our partner's demeanor. And so if your demeanor is one of happiness and joy, and you're overflowing with love, he's going to catch it. And to a degree, he's going to catch on and start reciprocating as well. Love is amazing. Marriage is amazing. Marriage isn't about fixing your problems. Marriage is about recognizing that you got married to be happy, you got married to experience unconditional love, and that's the place to put your energy. I talk about this in all of these videos. You should really subscribe, but you should also get one of my books, or if your marriage is in trouble, get the course for women. You know, people don't know. When we drive, people know how to drive. And so there's a few accidents here and there, just like if people understood marriage, there'd be a few bad ones in spite of how hard you may try. But for the most part, when people drive, they go to school, they learn how to drive. You didn't go to school to learn how to be married. You had no education whatsoever. You got all your education from watching movies and television, because we don't learn from people around us. When you go to drive, you learn how to drive, and then you're on the road where there's a bunch of drivers. and they're all driving pretty safely. And so you watch them subconsciously, and you're learning how to drive every day when you go out to drive. But when you get married, we don't have examples around us. We don't have an education about marriage, so we don't know. First step in teaching people how to be married, and that's what we do at the Marriage Foundation, how to have an off-the-charts marriage. First step is learning how to master your mind. And it has to be that way. And this is right on point. Can your husband make you depressed? No. But you can use him as an excuse, and you can't use him as an excuse, but you could use his behaviors as an excuse, or you could observe his behaviors as his lover and go, wow, he must be having a hard day, or he's in a bad mood. Let's see what I could do to be supportive and loving so he can help himself get out of his mood, because you can't control his mood either. Free will. Free will is a huge thing. One of the greatest gifts we get from God. I'll tell you what another great gift is from God. Our marriages. Finding your soulmate is an amazing gift. You didn't do that on your own. God is behind everything. Again, this is not a religious discussion. It's just the way everything is. So take advantage of it. God wants you to be happy, or he wouldn't have created marriage. Because marriage is the most amazing venue for happiness there is. Ask me about it. I'll tell you. I'm married. And you know, I used to be a divorce mediator. I used to believe in divorce. I used to really believe there were some people who just don't get along, but I found out that's not really what the truth is. What the truth is that not only do we not learn how to be married, but we learn all the wrong ideas about marriage. And so our marriages fail left and right. Don't be one of those. Be one of ours who gets what marriage is and who turns it into what it's supposed to be, a miracle of joy. They call it miracle, they call it marital bliss for a reason, because you can have that. You're supposed to have that. You should have that. And you shouldn't settle for anything less. Look, I hope this was helpful. Join me again. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. Like this video, leave a comment, and if you need to write into one of our counselors, it's a free service. Definitely go to our website and take a look, see what we have. Thank you for joining. God bless you, and take care.